Hey everybody, so today we are going to be talking about how I set up my quarantine system for the corals I got and how I'm maintaining it now that it has corals in it. So stay tuned to figure out how you can set one up for yourself. We're going to keep this a nice short video, but a lot of information just so you can do the same thing at your place. So stay tuned and keep watching. Alright, so if you look at this system, it is actually very simple. All I have is one of my AIs. I actually took it off the display tank because I don't have any corals in there right now, so I didn't need a specific light. And I have it up here. So it is set to the same, parameters that I would have had it over there. And I turned it to acclimation mode over the next 30 days so that it will, slowly amp the corals up and not, stress them out too much. So they are not getting a ton of light right now, but it is better that it be too little and work them into it as opposed to bleaching them out right away. I am using my Eheim canister filter. Now, this canister filter is less being used for its actual filtration and more for flow. I didn't have any power head or anything that was, small that I could put in this system. I didn't want to put my, large Ciche one in here because it would just blast everything. So I'm using the Eheim, and that is actually providing the flow to the system. Technically, the biomedia is in there. It is dead biomedia, so it didn't have any nitrifying bacteria or anything on it because I cleaned it and reset everything since it was used as a quarantine for the fish. But I have some live rock that was in my sump, and if you check down here, I put a couple of the ceramic media balls in the system also, just so there's a little bit of nitrifying bacteria. Now, as far as introducing nitrates and phosphates into the system, so those nutrients that the corals may need, I'm doing that with water changes. But I'm not using, freshly mixed salt. I'm using water that comes out of my display tank. So I'm taking, some water out of this system, dumping it down the drain, and then I replace. And you can see I have this line right here. I use this so that I fill to the same point so I'm not changing my salinity or anything like that, when I do the water changes. Before I do them though, I top off with RODI to this point, again, to make sure that the salinity is stable before I do that water change. So the fish in my display system are providing the nutrients to this, even though it's a fishless system. Now, you don't want to take water out of here and ever go into your display system. So use two separate containers and transfer water only in one direction, from the display to this to the drain. If you do it the other way, any ick or anything like that happens to be on these frag plugs can transfer into your display system and contaminate it. Going from the clean display into this is not a problem because I'm not introducing anything to these corals. Now, this system needs to stay like this for 76 days. What? That is the lifetime of ick. Unfortunately, the longest, thing is actually for the fish, and since we can't medicate this with copper or anything like that because it'll kill it, we just have to leave it here in a fishless system for 76 days. So that is why it's important that you set up a good system that will, promote these corals' lives, because it's not a week, right? Maybe if you put them in a cheap system, didn't do any water changes or anything like that for a week, you'd be fine. But if you're trying to eliminate, the potential for ick or anything like that, then it's got to be 76 days. For heat, I just have a small heater in the back and a secondary, digital probe right here. It's a little low right now just because I've been messing with it. So, it'll come back up. I have it riding right at 78. The frag rack is very simple, just egg crate, and I glued it to some PVC in these back two corners. Now, it was floating, which was really annoying. So I put this piece of rock on top. I was gonna put them all underneath. I put it on top to kind of hold it down, and that's been working fine. It's a very simple system you can set up for yourself and quarantine your frags without any real work. You're testing on it, checking, to make sure your levels are consistent, and then just replenishing from water from your display tank, which, you know, you check the levels, you know what those are, so you can, you know, see and maintain everything that way. If you needed to, you could theoretically dose something to this system. I hope that was informative on how you can set up a fishless quarantine system for yourself, and, you know, how you can quarantine your own corals when you get an order. It really helps to make sure you're not introducing pests or anything like that into your display tank. Once the corals are mounted and everything like that, it just gets 100 times harder to deal with those problems. It is better to identify a problem now and just never let it in the tank. And even if that means, you know, sacrificing a frag now, it will save your display tank. Like, there's no point in adding acro-eating flatworms to the display tank. If you can't kill them off the frag and they're just, you know, destroying your frag, it is better that it be that one frag than everything you have in your tank. So, you know, you really want to set this up. So thank you for watching, and if you want to see, you know, the unboxing video where I got these corals that are in the tank, check out this video right here, and thank you for watching.